And if I told you once, I ain't gonna tell you twice. Salute all my real ones. Yeah. I don't know what I was doing with that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm gonna edit all of that stuff out. And once it's been up for like 10 years. The Kawhi Leonard problem is the fact that he doesn't like to play, but he likes to get paid. And there's nothing you can do about it because NBA contracts are guaranteed. We gonna get straight into this video. Like button, subscribe button, notification bell, press those. Let's go.
Going into this year, the Los Angeles Clippers were poised to be one of the top teams in the Western Conference, and thus far they have been very much not that. They are towards the bottom of the Western Conference and off to a terrible start. And while there are a lot of things the team could be doing differently, ultimately the biggest problem has been the absence of their franchise player Kawhi Leonard. Thus far, he has played just 42 minutes over 2 games, and it has been announced recently that he is out indefinitely. And it is this exact problem with Kawhi Leonard now and historically that might be the reason why this Clippers core never actually wins a championship. One thing I want to make clear right out of the gate, and I kind of made this point in my video yesterday about Anthony Davis, I don't want to come across as though I am bashing a player for being injury prone. Right. While there are elements of injuries that can be avoided by the way a player trains or how they take care of their body, right, ultimately you can be injury prone, and that's just life. And I'm not going to give a player crap for that, especially because most of this stuff is from a chronic injury that Kawhi got years ago with the San Antonio Spurs. So this video is not blaming Kawhi Leonard for his injury concerns, but rather actually acknowledging them and reflecting on what it means for Kawhi Leonard's career, and more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but more the focus of this video, what that ends up meaning for the Los Angeles Clippers. A common thing you see from people who like to hate on Kawhi Leonard is like, you know, Anthony Davis, everyone dogs on him for his injuries, and then Kawhi Leonard, it's like cool.
Well, I mean, so the thing about they get on both of them, right? Like the difference is AD is like injury prone. Kawhi is injury prone, but sometimes it feels like, yo, you could play through that. Like you're not injured, you're hurt, and you could play hurt. And then it's like you've recovered, but you're extending the amount of time that you're out. And is it necessary?
Different meme formats about that, but that's not really the perspective you should have. Not to tell you how to think, but like generally speaking, you should be asking for players to be less slandered, not more. The problem is people
slander them all. They make money.
That's what they're here for. Not that they're not also giving that shit to Kawhi Leonard. The issue with Kawhi Leonard's injury problems, both the actually being out because of injury or just simply missing games because he needs to rehab or try to avoid injury, which that's obviously a whole controversial thing. Regardless of whatever that might be, the unavailability of Kawhi makes him an unreliable franchise player for the Clippers. And more so on the personal note for Kawhi, this also dramatically affects his all-time numbers. Like, Kawhi is 31 years old and an all-time great talent. I have him as a top 30 player of all time. But that's just because I severely value playoff success. If I did not, the fact that he has barely surpassed 5 digits for his all-time scoring total, like literally less career points than Andrew Wiggins, that would be an area of concern for his resume. Ultimately, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it would be nice if Kawhi Leonard existed outside of just a few big playoff runs. So to that end, it almost categorically turns Kawhi Leonard's career into a bit of a what if. Something almost like, I don't know, a Grant Hill, but it got to go further than that, obviously. It's less so that we got a couple of years of greatness and then injury ruined it, and it's more so there's years of greatness, but injuries are getting in on the mix on the way, and it's making this a little underwhelming. Something like Kawhi's 2019 championship run, obviously I'm not just attributing that run to Kawhi alone, which a lot of people do wrongly because that Toronto Raptors team was perfectly built around him, but something like that probably could have happened multiple times over. if not for how much he's been hindered by injury. He's never really been able to build up the proper continuity with any team pretty much in his entire career other than very early on. I had a ton of hope for this year's Clippers team, and with the news of Kawhi's absence...
I don't, because I feel like in general, a lot of those super teams and teams that come together, even with the Clippers, like they kind of are letdowns. Like every time you hear like, oh, this team's gonna run through the league, they'll win, but they'll never like dominate the league completely. Like you get when you know, you get the 08 Celtics, right? You got the big three, but that's the only chip that they won. You got the Lakers after that. They wound up winning 2 chips, but, you know, it was just 2 chips. The Miami Heat, they were like, yo, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 2. They won 2 chips. Then you get, you know, the Brooklyn Nets. You had, you know, the Thunder originally with Westbrook, Harden, and KD. Then you had last year with the Nets. You have Harden, Kyrie, and KD. And what did that lead to? So a lot of the times, like when these super teams come together, look at the Lakers now. They never really like, you know, they'll win, but they'll never dominate the way that you think that they would.
It's being indefinite and potentially damn near season long. That's really dampered all hopes for this franchise, and Kawhi's lack of presence is pretty much the entire reason why. And this is not a new problem. Kawhi obviously missed all of last season due to injury, and he sustained that injury in the 2021 playoffs, which resulted in the Clippers losing that year. His first year with the Clippers, despite it being easily the worst roster for him to have been surrounded with while in LA, that was really their best shot at a championship because it's been the only year where Kawhi has been able to build genuine continuity and rapport with his team because he played 57 of the available 72 games that year, as well as all of the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, they had to go and blow a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, but otherwise, that was the best version of the Clippers-Paul George duo we've seen, just simply because it's the only thing we've really seen. And another area where this is impactful is not just in the play of Kawhi Leonard and what him not being there does, but it also affects them when Kawhi is actually playing. The best version of the Clippers doesn't really exist because you're almost alternating between these two different options, the Clippers with Kawhi and the Clippers without him. Now that might be nice if you actually got like, let's say 57 games of Clippers with Kawhi, but because Clippers with Kawhi is actually so small of a portion of what you actually get with the Clippers, that then makes it when Kawhi is actually there, things are kind of awkward. This isn't always the case, but it comes across as though the team doesn't quite know how to adjust to now having this shooting option out there, the scoring option.
Yo, the NBA is going to have to change the contracts where it's like, bro, like, I mean, you know, they have guaranteed contracts. But it's like, yo, I guess specifically with Kawhi, if our doctors clear you to play, you got to play, bro. Like, or you don't get paid. Like, cause like, I know the issue now, if I remember correctly, it's the same issue that Kawhi had with the Spurs, where it's like the doctors are clearing you to play, but you want to go with your own doctors, and you basically don't want to play. And a lot of these players now, like, I feel like a lot of them are like looking for ways to still get paid but play less games. Like, nah. Michael Jordan had 9 seasons where he played all 82 games. If Michael Jordan did it, I want to hear from the rest of y'all. Y'all all got to do it.
Option, like players like John Wall would have to dial it back, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, like they've built this system at this point, excluding Kawhi Leonard. So whenever he comes back, they're going to have to deal with the growing pains of that. And historically, him coming in and out of lineups, they've dealt with that growing pain over and over again, when if there was just any level of continuity, the Clippers could actually put together a serious winning formula. Chemistry has been constantly talked about out as an issue with the Clippers over the years. And while it has definitely been better under Coach Tyronn Lue rather than Doc Rivers, the on-court chemistry can still often be problematic, because with Kawhi constantly revolving in and out of the lineup, the team cannot build the proper continuity to know what they're going to do night in and night out. There are two different versions of this team, and they conflict with each other very often. And unfortunately, a season like 2019 or even 2020, where the team that Kawhi was on was able to get a lot of games out of them, unless you're able to get another year like that, I don't think there is a world where the Clippers end up being a championship team. They have to have the time to actually build an NBA team with a certain flow to it, built around those two stars.
Right.
And because those two stars is very often ending up being just one star and a guy sitting on the bench, it creates almost a different basketball team. The Kawhi Leonard problem, his injury issues, the rehab of those issues, the missing games, all of that, it is easily the biggest hurdle for the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, the Kawhi Leonard problem is he gets hurt, and then I feel like he tries to take his sweet time to come back. All right, cool. You don't get paid if you don't come back. Let's see if you're going to come back. He will. Same way Ben Simmons did. You know what I'm saying? I think the NBA is really gonna try to address this. This shit got to stop. It has to stop. We're going to leave it there because I don't want to raise my blood pressure. My name is Rain. Catch you on the flip side. RC Priscilla, wait for it.